Now, let's talk about switch security configuration, and this is the summary of our chapter 12. The concept of these are: implement port security, mitigate VLAN attacks, mitigate DHCP attacks, mitigate ARP attacks, and mitigate STP attacks. In implement port security, an important part of your responsibility as a network professional is to keep the network secure. Most of the time, we only think about security attacks coming from outside the network, but threats can come from within the network as well. This threat can range anywhere from employee innocently adding an Ethernet switch to the corporate network so they can have more ports to malicious attack caused by this disgruntled employee. It is your job to keep the network safe and ensuring the business operations continue uncompromised. So, the example, if the best situation example here is when you have a trader employee who who, who want to sell your who want to sell your data to another businessman, so he will tend to attack your server. Then let's talk about mitigate MAC address table attacks. The simplest and the most effective method to prevent MAC address table overflow attack is to enable port security. Port security limits the number of valid MAC address allowed on a port. It allows an administrator to manually configure MAC addresses for a port or to permit the switch to dynamically learn a limited number of MAC addresses. When a port configured with port security receives a frame, the source MAC address of the frame is compared to the list of secure source MAC addresses that were manually configured or dynamically learned on the port. Then the security aging. Port security aging can be used to set the aging time for static and dynamic secure addresses on a port. Two types of aging are supported per port, which is the absolute. The absolute is the secure addresses on the port are deleted after the specified aging time, and the inactivity, the secure addresses on the port are deleted only if they are inactive for the specified aging time. Using aging to remove secure MAC addresses on a secure port without manually deleting the existing secure MAC addresses. Aging time limits can also be increased to ensure past secure MAC addresses remain, even while new MAC addresses are added. Aging of statically configured secure addresses can be enabled or disabled on a per-port basis. Then the port security violation modes. If the MAC address of a device attached to the port differs from the list of secure addresses, then a port violation occurs by default. By default, the port enters the error disabled state. And the violation modes here are shutdown, restrict, and protect. And the ports in error state, when the port is shut down and placed the error disabled state, no traffic is sent or received on that port. So go to the next one, which is the verify port security. After configuring port on switch, check each interface to verify that the port security is set correctly, and check to ensure that the static MAC addresses have been configured correctly. Then let's go to mitigate VLAN attack. As a quick review, a VLAN hopping attack can be launched in one of the three ways: is spoofing the TCP messages from the attacking host to cause the switch to enter the trunking mode. From here, the attacker can send traffic tag with the target VLAN, and the switch then delivers the packets to the destination, and introducing a root switch and enabling trunking. The tracker can then access all the VLANs on the victim switch from the root switch. Another type of VLAN hopping attack is the double tagging or double encapsulated attack. Then to mitigate VLAN attacks, there are steps. Disable the DTP or auto-tracking negotiations on non-tracking ports by using the switch port mode access, interface, configuration command, then disable unused ports, and put them in an unused VLAN, then manually enable the trunk link and the trunking port. And the next one is to disable the DTP, auto trunking negotiation on trunking ports, then set the native VLAN to a VLAN other than VLAN 1. Then let's go to the mitigation of DHCP attacks. DHCP attack. The goal of a DHCP starvation attack is to create the DOS or the denial of service. For connecting clients, DHCP starvation attacks require an attack tool such as Gobbler. Recall that DHCP starvation attack can be effectively mitigated by using port security because Gobbler uses a unique source MAC address for each DHCP request sent. However, mitigating DHCP spoofing attacks requires more protection. Gobbler could be configured to use the actual interface MAC address as the source Ethernet address, but specify a different Ethernet MAC address in the DHCP payload. This would render port security ineffective because the source MAC address would be legitimate. Then DHCP spoofing attack can be mitigated by using DHCP snooping on trusted ports. Then DHCP snooping. It does not rely on source MAC addresses. Instead, DHCP snooping determines whether DHCP messages are from an administratively configured trusted or untrusted source. It then filters DHCP messages and rate limits DHCP traffic from untrusted sources. Devices under your admin control or administrative control, such as switches, routers, and servers, are trusted sources. Any device beyond the firewall or outside your network is an untrusted source. In addition, all access ports are generally treated as untrusted sources. Then let's go to the mitigate ARP attacks. Dynamic ARP inspection or DAI. In a typical ARP attack, a threat actor can send unsolicited ARP replies to the other hosts on the subnet with the MAC address of the threat actor and the IP address of default gateway. To prevent ARP spoofing and the resulting ARP poisoning, a switch must ensure that only valid ARP requests and replies are relayed. The dynamic ARP inspection or DAI requires DHCP snooping and helps prevent ARP attacks by not relaying invalid or gratuitous ARP replies, intercepting all ARP requests and replies, then verifying each intercepted packet for a valid IP to MAC binding, then dropping and logging ARP replies coming from invalid to prevent ARP poisoning. Then error disabling the interface if the configured DAI number of ARP packets is exceeded. Now, let's go to DAI implementation guidelines. To mitigate the chances of ARP spoofing and ARP poisoning, follow these DAI implementation guidelines. First is to enable DHCP snooping globally, and enable your DHCP snooping on selected VLANs. After that, enable DAI on selected VLANs, then configure trusted interfaces for DHCP snooping and ARP inspection. It is generally advisable to configure all access switch ports as untrusted, configure all uplink ports that are connected to other switches as trusted. DAI can also configure to check for both destination or source MAC and IP addresses. The destination MAC, source MAC, or the IP address. Now let's go to mitigate STP attacks. Port pass and BPD guard. Recall that network attackers can manipulate the spanning tree protocol or what we call the STP to conduct an attack by spoofing the root bridge and changing the topology of the network to mitigate spanning tree protocol. STP manipulation attacks use port pass and bridge protocol data unit or BPDU code. Then port pass immediately brings an interface configured as an access or trunk port to the forwarding state from blocking state, bypassing the listening and learning states. And the BPDU guard, it immediately error disables the port that receives a BPDU. Then port pass bypass the STP listening and learning states to minimize the time that access ports must wait for STP to converge. If port pass is enabled in a port connecting to another switch, there is a risk of creating a spanning tree loop. Then that's all. That concludes our chapter 11.